So after a disappointing series against the wow, who did we play before this series? Sorry, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. All these series seem to be blending into each other. Yes, the Angels, of course. How could I forget? After a disappointing home series against the Los Angeles Angels, the Phils with a good bounce back against the Boston Red Sox, taking 2 out of 3. This series had a little bit of everything. The first game of the series, they said it's the first time the Phillies won the game, obviously, on a catcher's interference with the bases loaded. That was a good eye by Edmundo Sosa, I believe, who was at bat. And it was a good eye by him to have the catcher's interference ruled in our favor. And then, obviously upon further review, the officials ruled it correctly that it was catcher's interference, and we were able to win the game. The first time, I think they said, since like 1971 or something like that, that a game was won on catcher's interference. And, sometimes you need those kind of things to go your way in order to win a series and, get some momentum. So it was great for the Phillies to be able to win it like that. And then the second series, we were able to win that one as well. The catcher in this one was involved in another play, another catcher's interference. Although I don't think it really looked like catcher's interference. They said that he got in the way of Bryce Harper trying to steal home. But I mean, either way, Bryce would have been safe. So I think they should have let Bryce have the stolen bag at home, because it's probably the only time this season that you're going to see a player attempt to steal home and successfully steal home. Stealing home is not like stealing second or even stealing third. It's a rare occurrence, and I think that they should have let Bryce have that, because it'll probably be another several years before we see that happen again. But whatever. I mean, we still won the game, and that ended up being a big part of why we won the series. The third game of the series is really what will most Philly fans will remember about this one, and that was the game that we lost to the Red Sox. We lost that one 9-8, and the big takeaway from this one is that Jesus Luzardo, he's struggling, to say the least. Things were going good early on in the game. We scored 5 runs in the second, and Jesus Luzardo was he was coasting along fine, but he ran into some trouble in the 5th inning, walked a bunch of guys, gave up a grand slam, and which really turned the tide of the game. And Rob Thompson is getting a lot of heat for, I'm sure, around the sports world, for leaving Jesus Luzardo in. Here's my thing about that. I understand why Rob Thompson, is catching smoke for leaving a guy in the game that long when he seems to be having trouble finding the zone. He can't get guys out. He can't generate outs. I understand it, but I also understand that as a manager, and this is just to me, this is casually my opinion, keeping in step with the name of this podcast. I also feel like if you as a manager, if you see a guy struggling and you take him out, I feel like that could do just as much harm, if not more, as it would, leaving him in and watching him get, watching people get after him, because you want to show the confidence in a pitcher to be able to, get some to be able to get people out. You want him to have that opportunity to grow. Now I know that it can go either way. Sometimes you leave a guy in and he's able to find his way out of a jam. I've seen it happen, and the other times I've also seen it happen to where you leave a guy in and it proves to be to the detriment of the team, and it comes back to bite them later on in the game. This last game against the Red Sox proved to be the latter. He left Jesus Luzardo in. Rob Thompson has a habit of doing that, of seeing a guy get into a jam and then watching Pandora's box open in terms of getting 3, 4, 5, 6 runs scored on him. So it's a very tough position to be in as a manager. And two, you have to remember that Jesus Luzardo, up to that point, he had pitched 4 scoreless innings. And he was again, he was coasting along. Everything was smooth until that 5th inning. And I think Rob Thompson wanted to give him a chance to have to have a chance to factor into the decision, because if he pulled him before he completed 5 innings, Jesus Luzardo wouldn't have factored into the decision, regardless of whether or not he left during the 5th inning, during his frame of the 5th, with guys still on base or not. Jesus Luzardo wouldn't have factored into the decision. It would have been an ND for him. And I think Rob Thompson wanted to give him a chance. And he wanted to show that he had confidence in him. He wanted to show that he trusted him. To me, pulling somebody out shows that you don't trust them to be able to get out of that situation. Now, I know that Jesus Luzardo he doesn't have that, for lack of a better word, he doesn't have that cachet. He doesn't have that stuff to be able to work his way out of a jam. But I mean, the only way you know what a guy is made of is if you leave him in those tough situations. Sometimes they're going to get out of it, sometimes they won't, but you have to see what they can do and what they can accomplish. And to me, that's what I feel like Rob Thompson was doing. If he had pulled him, that probably would have been a damaging blow to Jesus Luzardo. It shows that, hey, we don't trust you. And I think that Rob was just trying to have some faith in his guy. That's my thought. But it didn't work out this time. Rob Thompson, this isn't the first time that he's done it, and I'm quite certain that it won't be the last. But I mean, it is what it is. Even after that, we gave up the lead. Jesus Luzardo was charged with 6 runs. We gave up the lead, but it's not like we didn't have an opportunity to win the game after that. We were able to get back into the game afterwards. We had a couple of home runs. I know JT hit a home run. Bryson Stott hit a home run. Bryson Stott, congratulations to him. He and his wife just had a baby. It seems like he's starting to come around. Maybe that pressure is off of him. Maybe the home life is back at a back at in a good place, and so maybe this will wake him up for the home stretch of the season. These last couple of months, his wife's been pregnant, and maybe that's been weighing on him a little bit. But now that that's in the past, and now they can move forward. Maybe this will be, Bryson Stott's, maybe this will be his time to come around. We'll see. But those are just my thoughts. Phillies had a chance to win, but they didn't. They gave up a 2-run home run to Narvaez. I think that's his name, Narvaez. The guy who was ironically responsible played a big role in the Phillies winning the first 2 games of the series. So I don't know. Poetic justice that he got us back in the end to finish the series off. It's one of those things. We move on. We get ready for the next series, and it's a big one because we're going out to the Bronx to face off against the New York Yankees. That's going to be a critical series for us. Last time we played the Yankees was last year around this time actually, and they swept us right out of CBP. It wasn't pretty, and they obviously went on to appear in the World Series. So we're playing against another contender, another AL East contender. They've got some horses over there. Obviously, it starts with Aaron Judge. We're going to have to be weary of him, but we've got our horses going out there for us. I don't know. I can never remember who is in line for us in various series, but I believe if the last guy was Jesus Luzardo, I believe in no particular order that Zach, Ranger Suarez, and actually no, I beg your pardon. Taijuan Walker is starting tonight. Taijuan Walker, he's getting the ball for the first game of the series, and then it should be Zach and Ranger, or Zach and Sanchez, Christopher Sanchez, one of those. But I know Zach will be pitching at least one of these games, so that should give us a chance to at least win one. But of course, it's all about winning series. We love to get the series. We love to get the sweep, but we got to win at least 2. We're going on a road trip here, so we got to win at least 2. Take at least 2 from the Yankees to get the morale back up. And I also hearing that Aaron Nola is coming around in his rehab. He traveled with the team to New York this weekend, so we'll see what happens. A lot of things brewing for the Phillies around this time of year. The trade deadline is next Thursday, less than a week away. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Phillies do. They have one more series. I think that series is against the White Sox before the end of the month, and that next Thursday, the 31st, is going to be very, very active. I'm very interested to see what the Phillies do to try and bolster the team. Whether they add another arm in the bullpen, whether they add another bat, whether they do both, it's going to be interesting to see. But first things first, let's get out of New York with at least 2 series wins. Sweep would be great. But if we can get out of there with 2 series wins, that'll be big for us, and that'll give us some real momentum as we get ready to close out the month of July.